Let's go ahead and read the problem. What part of an expression below should be calculated first? This is not really a word problem, so I think reading it once will be fine. I'm noticing that they're going to give me an expression, which is right here, and they don't want to know the answer to this problem. They literally just want to know what should you do first when you're solving this. Before we go ahead and figure out what we should do first, I want us to have a quick discussion about the difference between an expression and an equation. You guys are really good at this when we were in school. Take a moment to think. An expression is a number sentence that does not have an equal sign. I'm going to go ahead and cross that out so that we can clearly see an expression does not have equal signs. And when we look at this expression, that's true. On the other hand, an equation does have equal signs. This is not an equation because there aren't any equal signs. Okay, let's go ahead and get started on this problem. They want to know which should be calculated first. We learned a certain pair of steps or rules, you could say, when we're solving expressions or equations. It's called GEMDAS. Go ahead and write that at the side of your paper if you haven't already. And even though we learned this in school, let's take a moment to go through what each of these letters mean. When I think of my G, I think about grouping. Grouping could look like parentheses. It could look like brackets. It could look like braces. One of you guys taught me what these things were called. I don't even remember who was it? Maybe Ryle. But any of those are grouping symbols. The E stands for exponents. So remember, an exponent could be 10 to the power of 2, 10 to the power of 3, anything to the power of anything. Those are exponents. My M and my D stand for multiplication or division. Remember, with multiplication and division, think of them as a king and queen. They both have the same power. It's just whichever one you see first. And lastly, same thing, addition or subtraction. If you see the subtraction before the addition, you would do that first. Again, it's kind of like a king and a queen. They have the same power. Now that we know what each of these symbols means, let's go back to our expression so that we can see what to do first. The first thing I should do, according to GEMDAS, are my grouping symbols. So I'm noticing that all of these are in grouping symbols. There's some braces, there's some brackets, there's some parentheses. But I have to go with which one makes the most sense to do. Also, quick hint, most of the time it's going to be the parentheses because those are the inner groupings. So I'm looking for the inner grouping that makes the most sense. So I see this 8 divided by something. I don't know what I'm dividing by yet, so I know that's not going to make sense to go first. And this 4, if you say 8 divided by 4, it's in a bracket and a parentheses. It's hiding from the 8. We can't do that yet. If I choose the 1 times 6, kind of the same problem. That 1 is still in a parentheses. The 6 can't get to it yet, so that wouldn't make sense. The only thing that you would be able to do first is 4 minus 1 inside the parentheses. They're right next to each other. I know that I can get to that with no problems. So for this problem, you would be doing the grouping first, and the first grouping you would do is 4 minus 1.